G'day Hawks fans, welcome to this one-off feature podcast with the man himself, Jack Gunston. I'm Luke Bruce. Hopefully we can have a bit of an insight into Jack's journey, his career, what he's been able to achieve. He's the second favourite forward at the Hawks at the moment, a three-time premiership player, three-time Hawks leading goal kicker.
Who's the favourite?
Don't know. Jack Ginnivan. All-Australian Peter Crimmins medalist, our number 19, Jack Gunston. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you, Luke. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations, 250 games. How are you feeling about the weekend? And, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. I think I said after the game on the weekend, when I was talking to Fox, that it was a pretty smooth sailing 200 games. I got there without too many hiccups and had a pretty unreal journey to get to 200 and then obviously celebrated my 200th in the hub, so I couldn't have any family and friends there, and then the next 50 has probably been a little bit rocky for many reasons, so I'm really looking forward to getting a heap of family and friends at the game and obviously having probably a beer afterwards and enjoying it, which I don't normally make plans after a game because I can be a bit moody if I don't play well, so either way I'm looking forward to everyone being there and enjoying the day.
And will you have one or two people to cheer you off? You're not very big, Tom Hawkins. But
I'm not very heavy, am I?
No.
I'll go with two, but hopefully yourself and Sis can hold me up.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so we are the two oldest blokes at the club at the moment. How's it feel to be a senior player? Have you embraced that role? And who are you helping out at the moment?
Yeah, it happens pretty quick, doesn't it, mate?
It does.
1 minute you're that young guy, and I always felt like I was the really young guy in the team, especially at Hawthorn. I think for a while it was maybe Brad Hill was the youngest, and then I was the younger one of our sort of crew. And then the guys start retiring and going, and then next minute you're one of the older ones, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's you've definitely got to change your mindset, I think, as you get older, and I think we've both really been able to do that, and we really get a lot more the same amount of thrill as kicking a goal than watching someone we're working with kick a goal. So, look, obviously it's been publicised a little bit. I'm working pretty close with Kalsha and not just Kalsha. I work off the field with Watto and a couple of other guys up forward, and it's not necessarily footy. It might be about life as well. So, obviously Kalsha's been a great one to work with. He came in, he's a pretty raw kid when he first walked in the door, and it's credit to him. He wants to learn and wants to get better, and he's got that inner drive about him that makes trying to help him that much more enjoyable and that much easier. So look, loving doing that side of things at the moment, and it's sort of preparing me for life after footy as well.
It is pretty special. I know when Butsy and Maury and these sort of guys that I've worked with, when they step on the field and then do something that you've been teaching or do something that you've been sort of working on for weeks. I know when I used to collapse the field or whatever when I was younger, I'm sure those older guys that continued to teach me and sort of hone my skills got a bit of a kick out of it, and we surely are getting that at the moment from some of our young guys. So anyone at the Crows that helped you, or it was probably more once you got to the Hawks and you had a couple of more senior guys that put you under their wing?
Yeah, I remember at the Crows. I remember two moments at the Crows, and one, Scott Stevens, who I mentioned to a lot of kids now. No one has no idea who he is, which makes me laugh even more. But he was sort of a utility at the Crows, and an older guy then, and just a really nice guy, and took me sort of under his wing. I had Nathan Van Berlo, who was my mentor, but Scott Stevens taught me a lot of just little things in footy, and we'd have a goal kicking comp after the training every week, and it was 5 shots, but he got to pick the first spot. So and then if I always missed, he'd always then go to the goal square, and then I'd never be able to win. So I owed him coffees nearly every single week. And that's something now that I do back here. And these kids are kicking straighter than me at the moment, which sucks. But it's little things like that create a laugh, I don't know, you practice under pressure. You just never know what you're going to learn, I think, when you've got a footy in your hand. And another time when I was at the Crows, I had Andy Otten, who was an assistant coach here for a little bit, and it was my first pre-season, and we're doing contested marking, and I lost 10 straight. I lost all 10. And I walked off the field, I was like, oh my God, I'm so far away from this.
Otto would be that pumped with that that little shout out.
Absolutely. You sort of walk away, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like how am I going to get better? Like I'm a skinny guy as it is, but when I first walked into that club, I was 73 kilos, and from there you just learn, you develop, you watch other people, and that's the stuff that I think we just keep trying to harp on these young kids to do is not always ask questions, but just watch, and that's the best thing that I did there, and that's the best thing I learned from, I guess, Buddy and Ruff, just being able to watch them and see how they go about it and see what things I can take out of their game and put into mine.
Yeah, 100%. I had a similar story with Sam Mitchell here. He took me under his wing a little bit, and I think I was similar. I probably owed him 50 coffees in the first year, and then after that, as soon as I started beating him in goal kicking, he moved on to his next target. But you learn.
He's got a good story about bringing your weapons.
Yeah, 100%.
You keep harping on the young guys.
Yeah, I'll never forget that tackling session when it was probably the first time that I felt like I could make it at the AFL level, because you've got one of the best to ever do it in a tackling session, and he couldn't lay a hand on me. So it certainly filled me with great confidence, and we still joke about it today. But yeah, definitely the goal kicking side. He taught me a few lessons early days, but I couldn't kick on my left foot. So all of a sudden now I can use my left foot. He taught me so much about shaping the ball and obviously what he could do with the footy. So yeah, it's a pretty special bond you sort of create when you first get into footy clubs and help these young guys out. So yeah, draft day, going to the Crows, that sort of whole journey lasted, 2 years?
Yeah, I seem to leave Melbourne and come back pretty quick, don't I?
Just a little gap years here and there.
Yeah, it was in a way, it was so exciting. Like, my draft journey happened really late in the year, and it wasn't until the last 3 games that I'd started even talking to AFL clubs and thinking it might be possible. So
yeah, so take us through that. So who, I vaguely remember 2 games, was it? One against Hurley, one against...
I played 3 games late in the year. I think it was Jake Carlisle who was a centre-half forward for Vic Metro that year, and I played centre-half back, played all right.
Back?
Then, yeah.
No.
Luke, you know I'm an all right backman.
You're not a backman.
When I don't have to man up, I go all right down the back line.
Like Sicily.
Yes, correct. And then went forward the next week, kicked 6, and like footy life just changed from there. I got home from school one day and Dad had this smile on his face and Mum was standing there, and I remember like, oh, you got a couple of voicemails on the what is it, voice machine? I don't know. We used to have home phones back then. I don't even know what.
That's how old we are.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's called these days. And then listened to them, and then it was Adelaide and North Melbourne, I think, and it probably helped me that it was at the end of the season, and then over the next sort of 2 months where there was no footy, sort of word of mouth just pumped me up a little bit, and ended up going second round to Adelaide, which was awesome. It was daunting. I didn't know anyone over there. Yeah, I guess contrary to what some people might think, I was a pretty shy guy back then, and
Don't believe it.
I was pretty reserved. Like, I don't reckon I spoke for a couple of months over in Adelaide. Like, I just didn't know who. Didn't want to.
Spoke to Hendo, and that was it.
Just spoke to Ricky Anderson and Daniel Talia, and a couple of guys that I got drafted with, and I was pretty in awe of the Andrew McLeods, the Tyson Edwards, the Simon Goodwin was my captain. And there was some really good players. So it was an awesome experience. It was great to live out of home, and I think it helped me grow up a lot quicker than what I would have if I stayed here. And I played 14 games there, and across to Hawthorn we came.
A few good memories with Hendo and Talia. Are they still your sort of 2 good mates from that period?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, this weekend coming up against Taylor Walker, who's someone I learnt off from the very start. He was a good guy to me, and he's been a superstar player, and he's I think he's resurrected his career very, very well, and he's just still going very strong. So it's awesome to see. So it'll be pretty cool to play it against Adelaide this weekend, and obviously you got some close mates from the Adelaide days still. Any
life lessons from Ricky? He taught me 2 things. He taught me to order mushrooms with your breakfast.
That's a fungi, isn't it? Yeah.
and about red wine. So
yeah,
at least he bought something to Hawthorn.
He's pretty good with the shares.
Yeah,
he used
true.
to kick the ball running backwards, Rick.
He did.
Remember?
He did on the wing.
Yeah, he came second in the BNF one year.
Yeah.
Jeez, that surprises me.
All right, first year at Hawthorn.
I saw a photo. Someone sent me a photo yesterday of me and Clarko standing in front of the John Kennedy statue, and the kit that I was wearing, my hairstyle.
You still have the tips back then?
No one spoke to me for a start. I didn't have the tips. I got rid of the tips before I came here.
How long did the tips last?
It was a couple of months into Adelaide, and then they sort of got bullied out of me. So I definitely didn't bring them back here, but Ruffy just got stuck into me straight away for my haircut. I had a helmet head and just this big, like
big
waxed
helmet.
up hair, which I probably still do now, really.
I had a big helmet.
Yeah.
Little comparison.
It was just
You
jealous
still use
'cause he
hair
was
product
losing his
though
hair
every
and he had
day.
red hair. What?
Every day, hair product. Your hair's
Yeah,
never
I
out
do.
of place.
I do. I haven't grown up from that stage yet.
Yeah, so first season, I remember having a conversation with you when you first got here. I'd been dropped for the 2011 finals. You were then a bit apprehensive about coming across because you were like, why are they dropping a forward? And remember Strato came back into the team because Swans had a tall forward line. Talk me through all that sort of that process and your thinking.
Yeah, I think when you're making a decision to go to another club, you're analysing everything and you're watching everything. And I remember sitting there. Was it the prelim?
Second final,
was it
Sydney final,
against
qualifying
Sydney? Yeah,
final.
I remember because I was always thinking how much room is there in that forward line. Obviously, Hawthorn were keen to get me, and I was keen to come, but I didn't want to not be able to crack into that forward line and come over and not be able to crack in. So and then I saw yourself get dropped, Strato come in, and it was a little red flag at the time, but in the end it didn't stop me from coming across. And I think they're the things you look at when you come in over. But made the decision to come over, and it wasn't smooth sailing straight away. I think I was subbed for the first 2 games.
Let's go back before that though. Let's go to Box Hill. Talk to me about Box Hill. And
No, we're not there yet.
Really? What year was that?
No, that was the same year.
Same year.
When I got dropped.
So you played sub for a few games?
Yeah, so I played round 1.
Yeah.
Round 2 as a sub. And then I reckon I fell out of the side.
Okay.
Or I played a full game, and then... Oh, no, we went to Perth.
Yep.
It was when Cam Bruce was tagging Shannon Hearn. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then I think I had 4 touches. I was pathetic that day.
So you went
so
back to Box Hill?
I think I had a few groin issues, so I missed a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then came back through Box Hill. Played the first game. I know where you're going with this. I played the first game. I think I had 10 touches, maybe a goal, not even. I wasn't great. And then went back to Box Hill the next week and got on the end of a few.
Yeah.
So I think I kicked 7 that day.
Is that the highest ever?
Yeah.
Yep. And how many tackles for the day?
0.
Can you elaborate on that
so
story and each time you got to the bench?
Yeah, I went to the bench once a quarter or something, and I think I'd kicked a couple and starting to feel pretty good about myself. Maybe kicked 3, came to the bench, and there's the bench coach sitting next to me. He's like, how many? He's like, going well, mate. I said, yeah, going all right. He's like, how many tackles you had? I said, what? He goes, how many tackles you had? I was like, oh, I don't know. None?
I've kicked 3 goals.
I've kicked 3. He's like, we'll go back out there and have a tackle. Anyway, kicked a couple more, came back. I think I'd kicked 6 and then come back to the bench. Feeling it. I'm feeling good.
You're in flow.
Yeah. And then he asked me again. He's like, how many tackles you had? I'm like, is this guy serious?
I've kicked 7, won us a game.
I go, so yeah, it was a pretty funny little story that I've never forgotten. And now I've tried to make sure if I'm kicking goals, I'm getting tackles as well.
Yeah, I like it. First year at the Hawks, so you kicked 39 goals. You obviously back end of the year after all that must have been pretty good. You sort of found your feet, playing a significant role for us. And then we go on to playing a grand final. Talk us through that back end of the year and what changed, or why did you sort of start to play an important role for us?
Yeah, I think role was the key word. I think I just found my role in the side. I came back in, and for me it was all about, I was pretty keen to get between the arcs and get some marks and be that lead up forward. I didn't need to be the deep forward. We had some pretty superstar deep forwards, and it was pretty hard to get a mark inside the 50. So for me, it was about being a connecting type player and getting up high, being a release kick out of the back line, and it might have only been sort of like 10 to 15 touches a game and maybe 1 to 2 shots, and that's probably where I started to think, well, if I'm only having 1 to 2 shots a game, I've got to be reliable, and I've got to work on my goal kicking and be an accurate kick. So that's where sort of that side of my game started. I put a lot of work into that to, like, if you're having 12 touches and 2 points, it's like, it's an okay game, but you're having 12 touches, 2 goals in a side that's playing pretty good footy. It's like you're doing your role. So, for me, that was my role, and I just tried to nail that role. And look, I didn't need to do anything flashy because we had Buddy, Cyril, Ruff, yourself, Poppy.
We could just kick it anywhere, and they'd do
kick
the
it
rest
at their feet, and they make us look good.
I'll never forget the day I kicked it inside 50 to Cyril against Fremantle, and it wasn't a great kick. I popped it up a little bit. Cyril sits on someone's head, lands, steps, and then kicks a snap. Like it's just like from a nothing kick from me, and then Cyril just makes it look amazing.
They made us look so much better, those guys. We're not that good at football, but they made us look pretty good.
Just put it in anywhere in their vicinity, and they get their hands on it.
But yeah, I think going on that sort of goal kicking, I remember in the grand final, obviously we talk about the 2012 grand final a bit that year was probably our best year and maybe even our best team, and we played some unbelievable footy, and that was the year we lost the grand final.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the goal kicking side, I think there was about 5 minutes to go, and Bud takes a mark, 50 out, and I've come off the bench, streamed into the pocket and taken a mark in the pocket, and then had a shot and it's hit the post, and I think with 5 minutes to go, we were 4 points down, and then Malcheski goes to the other end, sort of kicks a goal, and for me that was just a moment of in the off season. It's like, all right, goal kicking, got to work on it. Like I only just missed to hit the post, but for me that was like, okay, that's my RFI area, and I want to be good at goal kicking. I want to make the most of my opportunities, and you never know how many you're going to get in a game. So for me in my career, that was one big lesson and learning point to work on going forward.
You've changed over the journey. So back then, like that year, you would have had hand high, thumb back of the footy. Like you can sort of go back and watch vision to now what it's like. How has your technique changed with goal kicking, and how has the mental side of it, like how much have you worked on it? You obviously, like that's a big moment. Like that's probably the biggest moment you're going to get. Grand final day, trying to convert. What work have you put in to make sure that your head's in the right spot when you need to kick goals?
Yeah, look, I watch a lot of players and their goal kicking and take bits from the best, and there's some guys that are really accurate with really simple routines, but obviously we've always had our own routines, and my steps and sort of run up has never really changed, but the way I hold the ball, the way I grip it, whether I kick it high or kick it low, has probably changed over a few years, and looking at my accuracy right now, I probably should probably go back to the 13, 14 routine. But it's sort of naturally changed. Sometimes you're a bit sore in parts of your body, and you need to change it. You need to kick it lower, or you need to get more power. And look, it's not an easy thing. Obviously the fatigue side of things. I've never been one to worry about whether there's 90,000 there or 10,000 there. That's never really mess with my mindset of a game or moments of a game, but
I think that's where our routines are so important. Like you don't even know there's 90,000 there or 20,000 down at whatever ground it is. It's like being able to lock into that routine.
Yeah.
As long as we've executed our routine, whether you miss or kick the goal, then that's all you can do.
Yeah, I think
just come back to that.
For me, it's always gone back to I've either kicked through it or I've tried to guide it and stab at it, and I can do that in front of one person. I can do it in front of 90,000 people. So, it's something obviously we've worked on. We have a lot of competitions. We have a lot of dinners and coffees, and
you never pay up though either.
What do you mean?
So you'd mentioned about being dropped and the transition and in and out of the side. How did you cope with that mentally, and any advice to young guys who sort of in and out of the side and what you can do?
Yeah, I think especially when I came across from Adelaide, and you probably assume that you're just going to be playing ones, and you find yourself back in the twos. You're like, probably first thought, did I make the right call here, or did I actually have a role for me in the side? And in the end, I think at the time it's just go back and play good footy and embrace the VFL level, and know that you got to do and play your role in that side. You don't have to do anything that is amazing. Like, yes, I went back and kicked 7, but that was then. Like, I've since gone back this year, and it's just you don't have to do anything amazing. Just play your role, embrace the VFL level, as I said, and you never know when you'll be back in the AFL side. And back then, I guess I knew, as I said, there was a role for me in the side, and I've just got to go back and I guess sometimes you've got to bide your time. Sometimes the team's going too well and you just can't get back in, or other times it's a matter of just trying to play your role and play some good footy and catch a break, and then when you do get to AFL level, make it hard for them to drop you.
Yeah, exactly. And when we probably speak to young guys now coming in, and they probably look at our record and just think that, oh, you were a high draft pick, or you were drafted, and then your journey was pretty smooth from there. You were sort of playing round one. Like, we both played twos.
Yeah, I played obviously Sandford reserves.
Yeah, so I played Box Hill development when it was back then. So I probably played 5 or 6 games in the Box Hill development side. I remember playing some pre-season games for Hawthorn, and then round one of VFL, I'm in twos too. So it just felt like I was miles away from it.
And I think that's the beauty of where we are now. I think all the kids look at everyone else at the other teams, go, oh, he's playing, I've got to be playing. It's like, no, you've got your own journey, you've got your own path, and sometimes it's even more special to from where you are to where you are now, to say that, I actually played twos, and I had to learn and develop and bide your time, and then sometimes it's worth it. I know I talked to one of our teammates and best mates, Taylor Duray, he did 3 or 4 years just playing Box Hill, and just played his 200th on the weekend, and
even someone like a James Sicily, right? He took 5 years really to establish himself. And
why'd he take 5 years?
He had a few things to sort out. You can probably elaborate on that.
He was a failed forward, wasn't he?
Failed forward. Didn't get any targets inside 50 assists.
He hated playing forward with us.
There was too many other guys that were taking his...
He'd whinge that no one would kick it to him.
He didn't have the repeat efforts in him to be a forward. He just wants to mark the footy and then get rid of it.
Oh, bloody good defender though.
Gunners on the weekend was... So I got in trouble early in my career for not celebrating enough. I was like one of the young guys, like, you're kicking a few goals, like, you need, like, this is a good chance to generate some energy and get the crowd behind us and get some momentum and all this sort of stuff, like the best pressure in footy, scoreboard pressure and all this sort of stuff I was getting told. But I just couldn't bring myself to get out of myself, I guess. It's just not me as a person. I've slowly started to get a little bit better as my career. But your one on the weekend was nothing, literally nothing. You kicked it and just turned and walked. It's like you'd either bowled a strike and you got the strike face, turned around everyone, or drained like a 10-foot putt at Augusta.
The weekend was a little bit different. We'll scratch the weekend. It was mixed emotions. But, yeah, I've never been one to fully celebrate. I don't know. I think I've always had in my head, I'm a forward, I'm expected to kick goals, and that's my job. So, look, internally I'm pumped, but I'm one to always go back to the person that's kicked me the ball. I always look for them, I'll point, or try and give them a high five, and appreciate them passing me the ball. I learnt that early days from Rough, and that's something that just stuck with me. And look, I love the photos that people get of celebrating with the crowd. I think they look awesome, but for me, it's more towards my teammates. And but I think I'm just trying to do a balanced wave. Like, some of the celebrations in our team are crazy at the moment.
Yeah, I've got to ask questions of what they actually mean.
I don't know what half these kids are doing.
Yeah.
I can't keep up, but look, it's pretty cool. And if they keep playing good footy and kicking goals, well, so be it.
If the form continues, and I'll
be the grumpy one to say, have you celebrated with the other guy that gave you the ball? But that's all right. We've got to be there somewhere.
Yeah, they can do that after they celebrate.
The Guinea and CJ one, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bit of carry on, but me and you aren't going to do that.
No, definitely not. We don't like to group them together. They're sitting behind us, but 13, 14, 15, it's hard to believe that it's a 10-year reunion this weekend for the 2014 one, which will be awesome to catch up with a few of the older guys. But, yeah, it feels like yesterday that we were running out onto the MCG and winning these cups sitting here. But what are your memories? Let's start with 13, the year, and then obviously the final series. So I'll read out some stats for you just because sure you...
Did I prepare them for you?
Yeah, exactly. Prepared these earlier. So 11 goals in 3 games across the final series, 4 goals, 1 in the grand final. Unlucky to not get the Norm Smith, do you think?
I tend to agree. Hopefully Brian brings it this weekend.
Yeah, he gives it back to you. And you were named best finals player for the series, so I think you still wear that watch a little bit as well, don't you? Is that your favourite watch?
Yeah, got a little watch for it. Yeah, it's nice.
That's nice from the club. So, yeah, talk us through 2013 and how your year was. How was your in-season? Let's start there.
Well, I think it's sort of similar to 2012. I'm pretty sure I got dropped early in the year for a game over in WA. I think I went over and so I obviously didn't start the year amazing, but I think sort of early on in that season sort of felt really comfortable, and I think we just had a strong system going up forward from memory, and it turned into probably a more team-orientated forward line. I felt like we were starting to get a few more shots between us, and it wasn't so heavily relied on Bud and Ruff, and we'd obviously started to develop our own games, and we didn't have to rely on the leaders to perform each week, and had a really selfless forward line, which was awesome to be a part of, and we wanted to be the most dangerous forward line in the league, and I think we were sort of through that period. So that year was awesome, but it was obviously a tough year because I think when you're playing a grand final and you lose, you go through the next year. I think nothing other than winning the grand final suffices. So it was a hard journey, and you always think, am I ever going to make another grand final? Are we going to get there? So I think getting to the prelim was the start almost like of our year. It was like, all right, we got ourselves to a prelim. This is the first game that means something. Like if we lose, we're out.
The wait seemed to take forever, didn't it? Between getting back there, then going through a whole nother preseason, then you got to get through a whole home and away season to then give yourself a chance. And then, before you know it, you're sort of back into a prelim against Geelong.
And that's my favourite game ever. The grand finals are awesome, but that prelim it just sticks in my mind. Like, I just remember everyone's faces at 3/4 time. I was staring into Ruffy's eyes, and I didn't know if it was like, are we going to do this? Are we not? Like, there's just so many thoughts. We're down by 20 points, I'm pretty sure. They'd been an awesome team. We hadn't beaten them for so long. And, it wasn't all our way in that last quarter. I reckon they kicked a goal, we kicked a goal, they kicked a goal, and then we got a couple, and the crowd was just, that's the loudest I've ever heard a crowd. Obviously, we couldn't hear the final siren, that's pretty cool. Like Cyril and Bud just kept playing.
That's when you know it's loud.
To win that, I guess that was the huge relief. I reckon, to know that we got to the grand final, and I think we might have been underdogs in nearly every grand final. I think from memory.
I think we were, because then Sydney played Freo. Then following night, it must have been a Friday night. Then they played on the Saturday, and Freo's pressure was just getting pumped up in the media about how good it was, and our kicking and our game style. Back then, it was like, are the Hawks going to be able to handle it? How are they going to pick their way through, and things like that. So I think we did go in as underdogs into that 2013 grand final. Take us back to that day. Can you remember? I didn't sleep the night before. I just remember laying in bed till 1 a.m, just staring at the roof, excited but also nervous about the following day. How did you go?
Yeah, I think I slept pretty well before, but it's like that time from maybe like 4 o'clock to when you're going to bed. I reckon I remember playing the 2012 grand final, like thinking, okay, I've maybe got Dane Rampy on me, and got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, and then the next year I just play it over in my head and think how I'm going to do it, and I was probably drained for bed, so it was great. But I slept really well, and something through, I think, just my career, I try as best, and I think I've done it pretty well, to treat every game the same. And I just know that what I've done and how I play doesn't change whether it's a grand final or not, and that's sort of the philosophy I took into the 2013 final series. I think the beauty for us was there's so much focus on Bud, Ruff, Cyril, that we can go out and play our game,
fly under the radar,
and that probably happened that final series a little bit, especially for me. Ended up having a pretty good final series, and grand final day was awesome. I kicked the first goal, and I think a lot of family members were pretty happy that day. They had me for first goal as well, so it was a great day for all. But it was. Got on the end of a few in the first 3 quarters, and couldn't quite. I think I had 1 touch in the last quarter. I'd gone hard early, and probably just needed 1 or 2 more and kick another goal. But I remember Matt Suckling and a couple of the guys running on the field and screaming, "Oh, Normie!" afterwards. I was like, "Oh yeah," like people have called me Norman Gunston before, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird." And they're like, "No, you're gonna get it. I was like, I wasn't even in my thinking. Like, I hadn't even processed that. Like, you just assume Sam Mitchell's had 35 or Hodgie's dominated or someone.
Not Lakey sitting on heads.
And not Brian Lake, where Matthew Pavlich kicked 3 on him and had about 15 touches. But anyway, it was just awesome to get a medal, to be honest.
Did you get any opportunities in the last? Like, did you have any one-on-ones or?
Yeah, well, I missed another one late in the third.
Okay.
Snap from the boundary, and then in the last, I did have one inside 50, and I didn't know how to do the high free kick, and I've actually shrugged someone.
Oh, really?
I could have milked it, got one in front of goal, but
breaking tackles.
Yeah, I know, that's unheard of for me. But like in the end, it was, as I said, it was a journey to get a premiership medal and have reunions, and now we're up to that stage already, which is pretty crazy. And I think 13 for me was my favourite. 14 was one that it's just you don't think about going back to back like it. Yeah. It was a weird year to look back on for me. It was just like, wow, we played some good footy. We got there, a bit of adversity through that year. I'm pretty sure for the team.
I think we started the year 4-4, or that might have been 15.
But obviously left that year as well.
So it was a bit of a process for us to then find what was going to work going forward, especially in the forward line.
As you said, we step up a little bit.
Yeah, well, we had that dangerous mantra that had worked so well the year before. And then, how was it going to work without Bud?
Yeah.
Can it be a bit more unpredictable for the opposition and get some different looks, which, in the end sort of worked out for us.
Yeah. And then 15 was probably the one for me that I got injured in the qualifying final. Did my syndesmosis and sort of a tweak of the medial of my knee. And that was, in the qualifying final. And to be honest, I tried to get up for the next. I didn't even try and get up the next week. We lost, and then tried to get up for the prelim. I couldn't even run on the Monday, so we got ruled out straight away. And I was in a moon boot, still in the game. While you guys were over in Perth, I was still in the moon boot. And then you won. Like, I was so nervous for the game because it was so close. I was like, we got to get there, and then we won. And then I was even more nervous because I was like, oh my god,
I got to get up for this.
I can't even run or walk at the moment without the moon boot. I think that was a Saturday or Friday or a Saturday, and then I don't know what happened. I was able to run on the Monday.
So, talk me through that then. So was it game day? Was it injection? Strapping up? Nothing.
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 Didn't have to inject.
It was a miracle.
It was just one of those miracles, mate.
You just don't use yours.
No.
Was it on your right or left foot?
It was left.
Okay, so you don't use that either anyway.
Look, all right, if we go to the stats, I reckon I've kicked more goals.
No.
You
didn't learn how to kick around the corner on your left for a long time.
Yeah, well, you got to learn somewhere.
You won on the weekend, was pretty nice.
Just got there.
After parties, who was best on? What can you remember from those years? One of the funniest memories I have is going to the security room of Eve nightclub at about 3 or 4 in the morning with our jumpers on, metal around our neck.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I just think back is such a weird memory. Like, what were we doing back there?
We just felt like we were rock stars.
Yeah.
We were just high on life, living the dream. You've achieved something you wanted to your whole career.
Yeah. And then it gets to about...
Your whole life, really.
Gets to about 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and all you can think about is making sure you get to Roughies on time.
By 9?
By 9, yeah. So every year you had to get to Roughies by 9. So you're sort of trying to plan, okay, is it going to be an all-nighter?
Yeah. And then I think there was some Channel 9 crosses.
Yeah. From the
Croft kept coming, the Sunday footy show, and boys are hanging out the windows. They're just little things, I think, of the celebrations that you remember. Like we celebrated David Hale's 40th birthday randomly the other day, and I was in the golf cart going around the MCG that Sam was driving, and Dave was like, just little things like that you don't normally do.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. One thing that I wish, it was cool to have the concert on the G afterwards, but I feel like we never actually just got to go out on the G and say, you see teams sing the song.
Yeah.
And it's just them in an empty stadium.
Yeah.
That was probably one thing I would have loved to have done, but
yeah. Another memory, singing Horses, Brent Guerra.
Yeah.
I reckon that was after 13.
Daryl Braithwaite on stage? No.
I reckon that was one of the...
I'll spend another time.
That was at Crown, I reckon.
Yeah.
The one I'm talking about, the one in the rooms. So post-game.
Yeah.
Sung the song. Down in the bottom of the MCG, you'd had this amazing win, and then
remember
everyone circling up, singing Horses. It was pretty special.
This probably shows how in a way shy we were. I remember Clarko sort of didn't have a go at us, but like we didn't carry on with the trophy walking around. He said something to you, didn't he?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Oh, I think it was. Can you remember what year it was after?
Must have been 13, because I reckon 14 I carried on a little bit more.
Yeah. Something along the lines of, it's a pretty special moment. You've worked your ass off to get to this moment, so let yourself go a little bit.
Yeah, like jump on the fence. It's not a balance.
It's not a balanced wave anñanymore. It's not.
You can let it.
Not keeping it nice and tight. You can sort of let yourself go. And
so we probably enjoyed the 14 and 15 one a little bit. We got some nice photos.
Yeah, one of my favourite photos is when all us New South Wales boys are on the city end behind the goals up on the fence. But I think we definitely learn. You learn along the journey, even embracing the parade the day before. I feel like 12, you were pretty stiff and didn't want to engage with the crowd too much and things like that. And then as you go on, fortunately, you get to play in 4 in a row. So I think you learn those lessons and get to embrace the week. And from experience, the team that embraces the week the most. And like how are you pre-game? I hated pre-game because it was so busy on the ground and I couldn't do my normal.
Yeah. I remember 2012, I watched everything. I watched the sprint, I watched so much stuff. And then the next year I just learned just do what you normally do. Yeah. I hardly watched anything, went back in the rooms and just went about my own business and didn't get caught up in the whole week of the whole day of the grand final. So
since you've arrived, Jack, I think we have literally competed for anything and everything. Yeah. So that is golf handicap, goal kicking, all Australians, games, goals,
assists.
If it's shooting the basketball downstairs, 10-pin bowling.
Well, I see you doing something and I go, I can be better than Luke at this, so I challenge you. And more often than not, either my stats or I'm not as good, but I'll keep going. I'll keep going at you. I still say that.
Even in the gym, I feel like that was one of the best things for me was once you arrived, and not that I didn't have like close mates or anything before that, but because it was a fellow forward, we weren't exact same position, but we were in the forward line together, developing together, pushing each other in the gym, pushing each other in 150s, 1Ks, like all that sort of stuff. It was, okay, where's Jack? Like, how can I beat him?
It was like,
and it just sort of seemed to.
It's like this healthy
rivalry
that like isn't a bad rivalry at all. Like it's funny in the end, really. Everything we do that we'll look at each other or look at each other's stats. I'll see you done 110 on the bench press. So it's like, right, I've got to do 111. Yeah. I've got to get that 1 kilo extra. Like, it's just little things that I always think. And in the long run, it probably helps. But at the time, we're probably just joking around and mucking around with it. But I think it goes from there and then it goes on field. It's like, how can we make each other better? It's we look at each other's running patterns. We watch each other. We know now where like we can just kick it and know that this is where Jack likes it or this is where Luke likes it. And
it's actually funny though, we've spoken about this, that we don't see each other much on the field randomly. Our patterns are so different from
we have to ask each other at quarter time and half time, how you going?
Yeah, how you going? Oh, I'm going all right.
Yeah, I'm going all right, not too bad.
Kicked a couple. And a lot of the time it's either you're kicking it to me because I'm deeper or I'm up further up the field kicking it to you. We actually don't cross over that much just because our patterns are vastly different.
I think we do scan the field really well, and the beauty of playing with someone for so long is I can watch your mannerisms. Like I know when you're about to step, I know when you're about to turn on your right or your left, or I know if you're looking long but you're about to pull it short, and they're the things that take time, and that's what we're trying to, I guess, teach these other forwards as well. It's not going to come naturally, but constantly learn and watch your fellow forwards, and you'll slowly develop a strong connection.
100%. The amount of times we've looked at each other and it literally takes a point, and that, as you said, trying to teach these younger guys that you have to be instructing the ball carrier all the time and letting them know where you want it, and it makes it so much easier to be a forward in the AFL. It's hard enough when you got a really good defender on you, and the ball carrier is just going to kick it anywhere, let alone if they know where they want to put it.
How did I was always wondering last year, I obviously didn't have that connection with you because I wasn't here. What were some of your comments to a couple of people around here that I struggle without you, or I can't play without Luke Bruce. Was that said?
There was a few of them. So Zane Lennon
Can't kick goals without you.
Zane Lennon and I had a little chuckle most weeks. I had a Jack on the weekend. No, just didn't quite get used on a couple of lead ups. I probably would have hit him. You sent a couple of very funny photos though during the year of, would you have hit me here? I was like, well, yeah.
I was trying to look for ways to impact.
I was like, probably would have, Jack, but unfortunately,
did
I'm not
we ever
in that
work
team.
out who's given who more goal assists?
Yeah, we did.
And who was that?
You know the answer.
Yeah.
And
So-
I strengthened my lead on the weekend as well. Gave you another
You
one.
did give me one, but on my argument, did we work this one out? Who gives who more score involvements? Because you miss when I give it to you. I put you in good spots. You kick goals.
Always kick goals.
Whose stats are these? You guys have to argue over it. Kicked 6 goals in the game 5 times in the career. Was it Gunston or was it Bruce?
Well, it's me or he's equaled me maybe.
I think I've kicked more 6 goals.
I think
Have you ever kicked 7? I haven't kicked 7.
I've never kicked 7. I haven't even had a chance.
So bad when I kick 7.
I haven't even had a chance to kick it either. Like, well,
I had one chance last year.
so you'd already kicked 6 and then you got
I
another
kicked 6,
shot.
I had another shot.
I've missed one.
And I was
so
thinking about it too.
really? So I've missed ones early,
I was thinking about
early
you
in the game.
playing for Brisbane. Already my text after the game. That's what I was thinking of.
And then kick 6, but I've never got another shot to then try and kick 7.
The answer is Bruce.
Yeah.
Gunners has kicked 6 goals 4 times.
And how many have I? 5.
You're 5.
5.
There you have it. The next
Nice.
one is kicked 3 goals and 5 behinds in the game.
That's me. I think that was a final too.
Was that 3, 5, 8 shots?
8 shots. I think it was against Melbourne in a semi-final.
Yeah, I don't think
And
I've
when-
ever kicked 5 points. I reckon most would be maybe 3 or 4.
That is correct. It is Gunston.
Gunston.
Next one is laid 11 tackles in a game.
We've already spoken about this.
That'd take Jack a month. To
I
get
don't think
11
I've done that in a year.
Yeah, it's Bruce. Round 19 versus Geelong, 2012.
Yeah, so 2-1 to me.
You know what they say about tackles?
13 marks.
Second to the footy.
Second to the footy, Luke.
Who's taken 13 marks in the game?
No, that's definitely
That's
Jack.
me.
That takes me a month to get that many.
Sorry, it would have been 13 uncontested marks too, by the way.
You might have had one contested in there. That
Yeah,
grazed the
and
back of your head.
Gunston twice you've done it. In 2015 round 5 and in 2023 round 10.
Twice 13 marks. I'm happy with 13.
2023?
I'm happy with 13 possessions, let alone 13 marks.
Yeah, I was loose in the back line. We're chipping it around last year.
Who's given away 5 free kicks in a game?
That'd be me. I reckon.
Well, yeah, I'm not.
Unless you were playing like defensive forward or something and
I've
go
done
away.
that. I've only done that a couple of times in my career, mate.
And go away free kicks.
Probably both of us.
The answer is Punky, 2016 round 16 versus Port.
Wow. That's a bad day. 5 free kicks again.
Who's got the most disposals in a game?
Oh, that's Jack. Jack has always held this one over my head.
Listen, I keep
I've never had 30 in a game, but Jack.
This is one of the things I can go back to rub it in a little bit.
How many times have you had 30?
I think it's only once.
Oh, is it?
I think I've had 28 a couple of times. But I think this was like 35 and 1. I think against Freo over there. Sorry, I don't think I know.
2017 round 18.
Yeah. David Hale was actually the
But
Freo
again-
forwards coach.
You're playing back.
I did not man up. I had no opponent that day.
So
That's when we played like 8 defenders. Remember the old days when you can have like 8 people in the back line
yeah.
at centre bounce and like 4 in the forward line?
chipped it around all day.
And the last one to settle it, who has the highest Supercoach score?
Oh. Well, if he's having all those marks and everything,
Yeah, I
it
reckon
has
it's
to be.
me.
It has to be him.
And it's my podcast, so you got to finish on me.
Guys, Richard, you are both tied exactly on 165 as your highest Supercoach
Oh, that's
score.
cute, Jack.
Wow.
Set shot after the siren to win a game.
Yep.
You or me? Who are you taking?
This year?
Just overall.
Overall, I'm taking you, Luke. Pains me to say.
Thank you. You or me? 6 foot putt. Just dead straight.
Well, you, because you always hit them straight. If there's a bit of break on it, it's me. You are, your handicap says you're a better golfer, but if I got more potential. I'm a better golfer than you.
You got Trent Henschel. And the final one I had was catching a Murray cod. You taking yourself or you taking me? Because you know how much
You are the worst. You can't sit still. So you are the worst fisherman. It would definitely be me, but in saying that, I'm a city boy, and if I catch the cod, to be honest, I don't really want to touch it. So I hope someone else is in the boat.
All right. Caught my first Murray cod in the off season. It was absolute thrill. Let's go to leading goal kicker 2016,
Oh, that's another thing.
2020.
You've got more leading goal kickers than me, don't you?
Yeah, you have 3, don't you?
Yeah.
What other years? 16, 20 and
18.
18.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, 18 you're an All-Australian as well. So let's talk about that.
Oh, those years that was a bit of, 18 was one of my better years on field, obviously. We made top 4.
Yeah.
I think we're both All-Australians.
I reckon we won the last 5 or 6 games for the year to then squeeze into the top 4.
Just got there. So
double chance and then out in straight sets, unfortunately.
That was a good year, but 17 and 19 for me, I probably struggled. I think those years up forward, and that's both of those. I think I went back.
Yep.
Which was awesome because the more strings you can add to your bow, the better. And I really enjoyed sometimes the freedom of going to the back line and just changing up my game and being a bit of a swing man. And those years I think were tough on the field for us.
Yeah.
I think we had higher expectations of making finals, and we weren't. And obviously 18 we did. And 2020 was, it was a Peter Crimmins medal year for me, which was pretty special. I hadn't sort of only started getting a few individual awards in the back end of I think the 18 and the 20, and it was a weird year. It was a lot of guys didn't want to be in the hub, didn't want to be there, and I just embraced it. I enjoyed the journey. I didn't love being over in South Australia where we were, but I was just grateful that we'll still be able to play footy at the time, and it was a weird year, and to I guess have the resilience in a way to still be able to perform over there and play my role for the side was pleasing to get something out of that year. And I guess from 2020, life's a little bit rocky.
Exactly. So that was hub year, and then in between all that you had 2017 where you went to international rules. Was that in Perth?
Perth and Adelaide. So that was
yeah.
pretty cool. I think as a kid, you look at those things and you go, oh, that'd be cool to play. And you never know if you get the opportunity, and got the opportunity to play. So jumped at it and loved every minute of playing a different sport and representing your country. I think that's something pretty rare. So it's pretty cool.
How'd you adapt to the round ball?
Took a little bit, loved it. It's a unique game.
Inside of the foot, or use the outside for goal kicking?
Inside.
But
I think I played backline anyway. So,
did you? Oh, right. Geez, you played more backline than I realised.
Yeah, I told you I'm versatile. You just play forward pocket.
Yeah, well, I know, mate. I got no... Well,
love to see you in the backline, by the way.
Floody made me play backline when I was playing VFL development. That's why I went back there. So I'd been playing, obviously, half forward pocket. He's like, all right, let's go back, find out what it's like to be a defender.
God, it'd be good to see you play backline.
Run off. I'd have 30.
No, you wouldn't. You would have no idea what to do.
I might have 5 kicked on me, but I'd have 30.
You'd be a lockdown Dower defender.
No, I would not. So through to 2021, back injury.
Yep.
Probably only played a handful of games for that year, is that right? One.
Yeah, and then went to play the next week and hurt it back again in the warm-up. So,
wow.
we surgery in the pre-season from memory, or around Christmas time of 2020, and then took 4 months to get back. Obviously, and it still lingers now. I got some nerve problems going down in sort of my leg and calf, and it's never really come back. So the calf after the back delayed it a little bit. So 4.5 months, got back, played a game, was horrible against St Kilda. It was really bad, and then hurt my back in the warm up doing a lot of pummeling, which is probably why I don't do a pre-game anymore. And then and then hurt it from there and ended up having another surgery. So it was, I think, coming off a good year of winning the BNF and playing some good footy. It was disappointing to miss that whole year, but I think, as I said at the start, my first sort of 200 games was pretty smooth sailing. So if you're going to have a footy journey that was like that, it's pretty rare, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And then we move on to 2022, so the hardest year of your life. So Ray passes away. Can you talk us through that period and what it was like? I'll tell a story of my favourite story of Ray post this, but how was that for you?
Yeah, it was extremely difficult. I think when it's so sudden and it's
Yeah.
such a shock and you just don't see it coming. I remember I was at the footy club at the time in the morning, and Mum had called a couple of times, and yeah, it's something you just don't even think of or picture happening at the time. And I think looking back on it, the beauty for me and my family was the fact I was at a footy club and had so much support and so many people around that we could just focus on what we needed to focus on, and everyone else is sort of looking after things for us. So in a way, it's a blessing that I was, I guess, still playing footy and had so much great support around. We got great family at the time, and they gave us all the time sort of we needed. I think I missed sort of 2 weeks, and I was away for 2 weeks at the club, and then after that, it's just like I want to be around the boys again, and I want to be here, and I want to play footy because Dad used to come to every game. That's why I still wear just a black armband each week, just as a symbol that I know he's there and I know he's watching. So for me, that's something that I do, and it's just as I said, it's great to have that support of a footy club and get back to playing footy. And I think you never forget, but you just sort of learn to move on and keep going about life. So it was really hard, and he was someone that I bounced a lot of stuff off after a game, and he'd sort of created that balanced wave for me. It was never as bad as it seemed, and it was never as good as it seemed. So it was something that has helped me through my career. So it was obviously a really tough year, but I think just another part of I guess the back end of my career, sort of learning, I guess, the resilience part of life.
Yeah. Pretty special week. The following week, you came back and kicked 5. I remember that first goal, pretty much tearing up on the ground when you kicked it, and we got a pretty special photo celebrating together. Can you talk a little bit more about, I remember you saying, Ray, you'd sort of nearly prep with him, is that right? Like before games, you'd work out who you're playing on, strengths, weaknesses, where you think you could get him, and then obviously debrief after the game with him as well. He was always down in the rooms and always up for a chat. Yeah,
he was always there. I think what there was beauty of, I guess, playing that game down in Tassie, down in Launceston, or he was someone that he'd never sit next to Mum. Yeah. So he couldn't sit next to Mum and watch the game, which I don't blame him. But he'd always walk, and he was always at the half-forward flank of my end. Yep. He likes to watch. So he struggled through COVID. Yeah. He couldn't see behind the goals. He couldn't watch. He didn't know what was going on. So, he was always there. And I think as a forward, you normally get the same matchups most weeks. So it was really good to reference, and I don't have to go back and watch a lot of vision because he would obviously watch and he'd know, and then I'd know. So he was a great sounding board for me. And then after the game, he was obviously someone that I'd touch base with each week, and we'd chat. And it was hard to lose that connection for a while, but in a way, it made me start speaking to a lot of other people, and like yourself, I lean on you a lot more, and a lot of others, and life just kept going, and footy kept going, and that's the way you would have wanted it.
My favourite Ray story is up at Bundalong, so one of your favourite places. I'm sure it was one of Ray's as well. And we went to Squires, the winery.
Yep.
So we went there for lunch, and then I think we ended up back in town somewhere at one of those new
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith, that's right. And Liam Shields' partner Claire at the time was pregnant, and Anthea was with me as well, and we decided to head home early.
Oh, you went home early.
Yeah, and you guys stayed out in town to continue your night, but we were pretty cooked, so we went back and thinking we were going to get a nice early night to go to bed, and we walked into your place on the river, and Ray was standing out there and just offered us a VB.
Loves his VB.
Loves his VB. And obviously, Pup and I are yes men. We said yes straight away and went out the back of Bundalong. And I think looking back on it now, and the questions he was asking, and what we sort of got talking about, I think he just loved picking our brains on you and how you were around the footy club, and how you have been through your career, and what sort of...
I wouldn't give away too much.
No, you didn't.
I spoke footy. I didn't. Yeah, I never really talk about
exactly.
myself to many people.
To then be able to pick mine and Liam's brain that night, and just find out more about you, and it was a pretty special night for us. I think you guys got home pretty late, and we were still, sitting out the back with Ray, drinking VB cans. I remember the table just being chock. We were having one VB can, and we've had 6 or 7 each.
Yeah, he loved chatting to all the boys.
Yeah, it was like 3 a.m. in the
being
morning,
around
and we're still sitting there just chatting about you, and still to this day is the best memory I've got of Ray, and it was a pretty special night to look back on. So how was all that? The move initially, and then obviously moving back to Hawthorn.
Yeah, obviously it was a big year, as we just touched on, in personal life, and at the time I just felt like I needed a change, and I was really excited to get out of Melbourne and go up north and play for the Brisbane Lions, and an absolutely amazing bunch of guys. Such a nice football club to be around. Everyone looks out for each other. It's like a big country footy club. It's so different it's a different experience to playing for a Melbourne football club. And look, I enjoyed the challenge up there. I found it was pretty tough on the field, obviously, with the game style and the way they play football. And I tried to adapt as best as I could. And
it is challenging as well, because you go and, like, we obviously had built such a strong connection, but you'd play with other guys in our forward line as well. So they, like you mentioned before, they knew your running patterns. They knew where you wanted the footy, versus you go to a completely new club, new players.
And it was good to experience a new style, and it was tough for my the type of player I am. So it was great to learn and see new things in a new football club and a new environment. But yeah, as I said, the lure of coming back home and back to Hawthorn, and being able to, I think, fully use my strengths here on and off the field, was something that I really wanted to do.
Yeah, good for your development if you're staying footy. You've seen a different program.
Yeah, seen a different program and learnt different ways, and to know that there's different ways of 18 clubs doing different things. So, if I stay in football post-career, I think being at 3 different football clubs holds me in good stead.
So then coming back to Hawthorn, so we were standing at Pebble Beach about to play golf, and you were getting phone calls left, right and centre. I was
a bit rattled that round of golf, wasn't I?
You were, which not ideal. You're playing one of the best courses in the world, and you've got to try and deal with all that. So how did all that go?
Yeah, it was obviously a tough sort of week in that trade period. You never know what's going to happen. But look, the trade got done, and I was excited. I was with you and Sis at the time, and just left the big travelling party of the Brizzy guys as well. So it was an exciting time, and needed obviously a lot of logistics back home. But coming back to the club, I think you and Sam sent me a photo of a couple of steak knives in front of my locker, which was a nice welcoming present as part of the trade. But for me, it took a little bit of time. I just felt like I needed to earn a bit of respect back, and needed to prove myself again. I didn't have a great year of football up in Brisbane, so I needed to have a good pre-season, and I'd had a lot of conversations with Sam over the off-season about what this year looks like for me, and whether it's playing and whether it's off-field. And as I said before, it's been really good for my mindset and how you go about sort of the later part of your career. And as I said, I'm starting to get a lot more enjoyment out of the younger kids playing some good footy as much as yourself playing good footy. So I've loved my first half of the year at Hawthorn, and just really enjoying being back at the footy club.
Nice. And game 250, so what does that mean to you, and can you sum that up for us?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal, I think, to think about it, to be honest. I remember having a conversation with a development coach at Adelaide, and I think I had a bad game and bad attitude. I can have that from time to time. And he said, I remember a quote, he said, you can be a 200-game footballer, AFL footballer, if you apply yourself, and stuff I heard in school, actually.
Jack doesn't apply himself very well. If Jack listened,
distracts others.
Distracts others.
And he sort of mentioned that, and that's something that at the time you haven't even played a game. You're like, 200 games, come on, that's a lot. And then you just go through your journey, and you probably don't really think about your games. You're so involved and invested in the season that it all keeps creeping up on you. And I think for me, it hit me. It's like 250 when yourself and Liam played it together. I was like, that's pretty special. That's cool. It's a great memory. It's a great celebration afterwards. And as I said, I played my 200th in the hub with no one there. So I'm actually really looking forward to this week, and really looking forward to sharing it with the people that have been on the journey with me. There's a lot of family and friends coming along. So, hopefully we can get the win, and it's a really enjoyable day. But it's something that is special to me, but I think it's special to the whole family as well.
Yeah, nice. Well, congratulations, outstanding career. Looking forward to sharing a beer this weekend with you. Go well, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for the podcast.